Hello everyone, my name is Alice Oseman and I've returned to read to you like a librarian running some sort of half-term reading session for the kids. That's what I feel like right now. But anyway, what am I talking about? My new book, I Was Born for This, comes out on May the 3rd. In my last video I read you the first chapter, which is narrated by Angel, who is a massive fangirl of a boy band called The Ark. In the first chapter she has just come to London to meet her friend Juliet for the first time ever. They've only ever been talking on the internet until now. But she's just heard from Juliet that Juliet has invited a third friend to their get-together, a friend that she doesn't know, and this is very distressing to Angel. I mean, that would be distressing to anyone, to be honest. Today I'm going to read you the second chapter, which is narrated by someone completely different. A boy called Jimmy, who is in an extremely famous boy band called The Ark. He is... well, I'm not going to tell you anything about him, but apart from he's very famous. I'm just going to read you his first chapter, and you can see what you think of him and his life, and how his story will tie in with Angel's. I should have had water before I started this. Jimmy. Wake up, Jim Jam. Rowan kicks me in the shin. Rowan and Lister and I are all in the same car, which makes a pleasant change. Usually we have to arrive at these award shows separately, and I have to endure a car ride with a bodyguard who keeps glancing at me like I'm a rare Pokemon card. I'm awake, I say. No, you're not, he says, and then he waggles his fingers above his head. You're up there. Rowan Amondi is sitting opposite me in the back of our Hummer. He looks hot. Always does. His hair's been in twists for the last couple of months, and his glasses, new, are aviators. His suit is red and white with gold flowers on it, fire against his dark brown skin. His shoes are Christian Louboutin. He links his fingers together over one knee. His rings make a jangling sound. It's nothing new. We've done this before. What's worrying? He taps his temple and looks at me. What's worrying? I love Rowan. He says words like he made them up. Probably why he's our lyricist. Anxiety, I say. I'm anxious. About what? I laugh and shake my head. It's not how it works. We've been through this. Yeah, but like everything has a cause and effect. Anxiety is the cause and the effect. Double whammy. Oh. The anxiety thing isn't new. By this point it's pretty much the fourth member of the band. I've been trying to get on top of it in therapy, but I haven't had the time for many sessions this year, what with the European tour and the new album, and I still haven't really warmed up to my new therapist. I haven't even told her about the massive panic attack I had at Children in Need last year yet. Still sang anyway. It's on YouTube. If you look closely, you can see the tear tracks on my face. We fall into silence. I can hear the screams in the distance. Sounds a bit like a tide. We must be nearly there. My weird bad feelings are probably half anxiety and half genuine nerves about tonight, plus all the other things I'm sort of constantly dreading. I tend to constantly dread things, even when the things aren't actually dreadful. Currently up there on Jimmy's list of things he's dreading the most are signing our new contract and coming home from tour, along with tonight's performance at the West Coast Music Awards, aka our first live performance in America. It'll be no different to our normal concert performances, except that our audience will be the greatest musicians in the world and people who haven't really heard of us, rather than teenagers who know all of our lyrics by heart. Everything's sort of changing and happening, and I feel excited and scared, and my brain doesn't know how to deal with it all. I don't know how you have room to be anxious when we're finally performing at the Dolby, says Lister, who is literally bouncing up and down in his seat with a wild grin on his face. I mean, I feel like I'm going to shit myself. I think I might actually. Stay tuned. Rowan wrinkles his nose. Can we not talk about poo while I'm wearing Burberry, please? If we can talk about anxiety, we can talk about poo. They're basically the same thing. Alistair Bird. Easy for me to tell when he hasn't had a drink or a cigarette since yesterday. While he does look like he's about to explode from excitement, he's subconsciously gritting his teeth and has bags under his eyes. Cecily, our manager, enforced a no alcohol for 5 hours before events rule on Lister after the incident at the X Factor that we do not talk about anymore. And he's not supposed to smoke on singing days, even though he usually does. No one else can tell that though. To everyone else he's beautiful, perfect, flawless, etc. He's got the James Dean Calvin Klein model I just tumbled out of bed look. Tonight he's wearing a Louis Vuitton bomber jacket and ripped black skinny jeans. Lister pats me a little too hard on the back. "You're at least a bit excited about it, right?" he asks, grinning. It's hard not to grin back. Yeah, I'm a bit excited. Good. Now, back to the important topic at hand. What are the chances of me running into Beyonce, and what are the chances of her knowing who I am? I squint out of the car window. It's tinted, and Hollywood looks darker than it should, but the too fast beating of my heart is an indiscernible mix of anxiety and excitement, and I get a sudden wave of, I can't believe I'm here. It happens less and less nowadays, but sometimes I remember how weird my life is. How good it is. How lucky I am. I glance back at Rowan. He's looking at me, a faint smile on his lips. "You're smiling," he says. "Shut up," I say, but he's right. "You boys should all just try to enjoy yourselves," says Cecily. She crosses her legs and doesn't look up from her phone as she talks. "After this week, things are going to get 500% more hectic for you guys." Cecily, who is sitting opposite Lister, is the only one of us who looks anything like a normal person. She's wearing a blue dress, tight black curls swished to one side, and she's got a lanyard round her neck. The only seemingly expensive thing about her is the massive iPhone in her hand. Cecily Wills is our band manager. She's only about 10 years older than us, but she comes everywhere with us and tells us what to do, where we're going, where to stand, who to talk to. If we didn't have her, we'd have literally no idea what we were doing at all, ever. Rowan rolls his eyes. "So dramatic." "Just keeping it real, babe. The new contract is very different to your current one, and you'll be adjusting to post-tour life." The new contract. We're all signing a new contract with our record label, Fort Records, once we return home from our European tour later this week. It will mean longer tours, more interviews, bigger sponsors, flashier merch, and above all, it will mean finally breaking the US. We've recently had a top 10 single in America, but the plan is to get us a real audience here, a US tour, maybe even worldwide fame. Which is what we want, obviously. Our music spread across the world and our name in the history books. But I can't say the thought of more interviews, more guest appearances, more tours, more everything is making me feel particularly thrilled about my future. "Do we have to talk about that right now?" I mutter. Cecily keeps tapping away at her phone. "No, babe. Let's get back to poo and anxiety." Good. Rowan sighs. "Now look at what you've done. You've made Jimmy grumpy." "I'm not grumpy." Lister drops his mouth open in faux shock. "How is this my fault?" "It's both of you," says Rowan, gesturing to Lister and Cecily. "It's none of you," I say. "I'm just in a weird mood." "But you're excited, yeah?" asks Lister again. "Yes, I promise I am." And I mean it. I am excited. I'm just nervous and scared and anxious as well. The three of them are all looking at me. "Like we're performing at the Dolby," I say, and find myself grinning again. Rowan raises his eyebrows a little, arms folded, but nods. Lister makes a whooping noise, then starts to unwind the window, before Cecily smacks his hand and winds it back up again. The screams coming from outside are piercing now, and the car comes to a halt. I feel a bit sick. I don't really know why all this is bothering me so much more today. I'm normally fine. Wary, always wary, but fine. The screams don't sound like a tide anymore. To me, they sound like the metallic screech of heavy machinery. I'm sure I'll enjoy myself once we get in there. I rub my fingers over my collarbones, feeling for my tiny cross necklace. I ask God to calm me down. Hope he's listening. I'm wearing all black, as usual. Cigarette trousers, Chelsea boots that are giving me blisters, a big denim jacket, and a shirt that I have to keep pulling on because it feels like it's choking me, and the little transgender flag pin that I always wear to events. Rowan undoes his seatbelt, pats me gently on the cheek, pinches Lister's nose and says, "Let's walk, lads." The girls aren't anything new. They're always there, somewhere, waiting for us. I don't mind really. I can't say I understand it, but I love them back in a way, I guess. The same way I love Instagram videos of puppies tripping over. We get out of the car and some woman touches up our hair and makeup and some other woman brushes down my jacket with a lint roller. I sort of love how they always seem to appear out of thin air. Men holding massive cameras, wearing jeans, bald bodyguards wearing black. Everyone's got a bloody lanyard on. Rowan puts on his serious face. It's hilarious. Kind of a pout, kind of a smoulder. He's not so smiley in front of the cameras. Lister, on the other hand, is flashing his smile all over the place. He never looks miserable in photos. He's got the opposite of a resting bitch face. The screams are deafening. Most of them are just screaming Lister. Lister turns around and holds up a hand, and I dare to take a glance too. The girls. Our girls. Clawing at a chain link fence, waving phones, crushing each other and screaming because they are so happy. I hold up a hand and salute them, and they scream back at me. That's how we communicate. We get ushered on by the adults that escort us everywhere. Bodyguards and makeup artists and women holding walkie-talkies. Rowan walks in the middle, Lister walks slightly ahead, and I linger at the back, finding myself more excited than I usually am at these awards ceremonies. They've got a bit samey in the UK, but this is our first one in America, and that makes it something special. This is our first step into the American music industry, worldwide success and a musical legacy. We've made it from a rundown garage in rural Kent to a red carpet in Hollywood. I glance up at the California sunshine and find myself smiling again. Photos are very important, apparently, as if there aren't already enough high-quality photos of us in the world. Cecily tried to explain it to me once. They need up-to-date high-quality photos, she said. They need high-quality photos of my hair now that I got the size buds. They need high-quality photos of Rowan's suit, since it's something special that fashion magazines will talk about. They need high-quality photos of Lister, because they sell. The three of us reconvene at press photos. I still feel like it's just us three here sometimes, even though we're surrounded by other people constantly. Adults swarming round us, putting their hands on our backs and pointing where to stand, before jogging out of the way so the fireworks show of camera flashes can begin. I catch eyes with Lister and he mouths the words, "shitting myself," at me, before turning away and sending a blinding smile to the cameras. I stand in the middle, always, holding my hands together in front of me. Rowan, the tallest, is to my left with a hand on my shoulder. Lister is to my right, his hands in his pockets. We never really discussed this, it's just what we do now. The photographers, like the girls, all scream mainly at Lister. Lister hates this. Rowan thinks it's hilarious. I think it's hilarious. But nobody except us three knows that. This way, to the right, guys, Lister, over here, to the left now. It goes on. We can't really do anything but stare into the flashing lights and wait. Eventually a man gestures for us to move on. The photographers continue to scream at us. They're worse than the girls because they're doing it for money, not love. I automatically walk close to Rowan and he turns to me and says, "Lively bunch tonight, aren't they?" "California, baby," I say. "It's a funny old world." He stretches his arms to adjust his sleeves, and I'm sweating one out right now. I'm the one wearing all black. The camera flashes reflect in his glasses. "At least you're wearing socks. I think I can smell my feet already." He waves a foot at me. "Leather shoes with no socks is a fucking disaster. I've got a sweat swamp growing down there." I laugh and we walk on. This is where most of the girls are. A long line of red carpet stretches out before us with the girls on either side, leaning over the fence, waving phones. I used to wish there was time to talk to every single one of them. Lister dives straight in, walking along the left side of the carpet, stopping every so often to lean into a girl's selfie. They grab at his arms, his jacket, his hands. He smiles and moves on. A bodyguard hovers a few steps behind him. Rowan hates the girls, hates the way they scream and grab him and cry in front of him and beg for a follow back on Twitter. but he doesn't want them to hate him, so he goes to take some selfies too. I don't anymore. I don't go anywhere near them anymore. I don't mind waving and smiling, and I'm grateful, definitely grateful that they're here and supporting us and loving us, but they scare me. They could just reach out and hurt me at any moment. Someone could have a gun. No one would know. One evil person shows up and I'm dead. And I'm a big target. Being a member of one of the most successful and well-known boy bands in Europe makes you a big target. Typical me. Paranoia, dread, and too much overthinking, all crammed into one tiny brain. Instead, I walk slowly and wave. They wave back at me, smiling, crying, so happy. This is a good thing. They're having the best time. Near the end of the carpet, we all walk together again. The three of us in a slightly spaced out line. Sometimes I wish we really could hold hands. You couldn't give me £1 billion to be a solo artist and do all of this by myself. It's stressful. It's scary. That never goes away. The girls scream and they claw at you. A lot of them only like us because we have nice faces. But as long as we are here, the three of us, and we get to make music, we get to live this life, playing our music in a new city every week, bringing smiles to millions of faces, leaving our mark upon the world, then everything is good and fine and okay. Rowan glances my way and nods. He pats Lister on the back. At least I'm not alone. Well. That was chapter 2 of I Was Born for This, my book, which is out on May the 3rd. You're probably getting tired of me saying that by now. I hope you enjoyed learning a bit more about Jimmy and his bandmates, Rowan and Lister. Yeah, my voice kind of hurts now, so I think I'm going to wrap this up. If you didn't see the last video, as well as I Was Born for This, my other 2 books, Solitaire and Radio Science, are getting new, beautiful, shiny covers in these beautiful pastel colours. Look at this pink. I am dying. So yeah, please buy my books. These are also out on May the 3rd, by the way. May 3rd. Pre-ordering is super helpful. And while you're here, if you live in the UK and you pre-order I Was Born for This, you can get the first 4 chapters early, illustrated by me. So if you want to, you've heard the first 2 chapters, and now if you want the next 2 chapters, all you've got to do is pre-order this book, and then you've got to send a little email to HarperCollins. The information I'll put in the description. Super easy. Oh, and you also get entered into a competition, or like a giveaway, to win an Apple Music gift card. But in general, pre-ordering is just so helpful for authors. It's like the best way to support an author you like. Okay, I better go before my voice actually dies. Let's put you up there. No, you can go there. Thank you very much for listening. I really hope you enjoyed my reading. Sorry if I was not good at narrating books. I will see you again with another video. Now that I have a real copy of it, I want to make the book trailer. That's like my next job for YouTube. So look out for that. I'm very excited to make a trailer, even though I don't really know what it's going to be yet, but yay! Okay, thank you for listening. See you again very soon. Goodbye.